Hello and welcome to GTO Coach and Go. I'm Jim Dellerman with Group Travel Odyssey. I want to thank you for joining us again for this episode. And before we get started with today's topic, I want to remind you if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you ring the bell, you'll be notified anytime that we have new content on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn at Group Travel Odyssey and make sure to like the Group Travel Odyssey Facebook page. We've got a lot of stuff going on with social media, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. For today, we're going to be diving into yet another new topic with GTO. We're going to talk about a connection that we recently have with QuickBooks. And in order to do that, I'm going to bring on our director one more time. Let's bring on Corey Vries. Hey, Corey, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good, Jim. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. So I know we've talked quite a while about connecting GTO and our processes in group accounting with QuickBooks. Only one version of QuickBooks. So how are we doing this? How is this happening with GTO now that we're going to be able to connect with QuickBooks?
So, and right, you've listed some exceptions, and that's true. It's to QuickBooks Live, right? So it's the cloud version of QuickBooks. So if you're using the desktop version of QuickBooks, it will not connect to that, obviously, because it's sitting on your desktop, not in a cloud server somewhere. So if you have QuickBooks Live, the other thing is that you can't be using the basic version of QuickBooks Live. Now, larger companies aren't going to be using that anyway, but you do have to have the level that has the API capability. API is just a fancy way of saying two computers talking to one another. And so you have to have the version that allows us to have an API. Most companies already have that version, but if you don't, that's something that you have to have as well. Okay. Right. So today, what I wanted to show you, and I know everybody's getting tired of this face coming on to Coach and Go. We need to get somebody else on here. But when we got this done, I thought, no, this is a good thing for other people to know. So I just was going to walk through how it works in general. Now, I'm going to show you how it works in general, but there are some customizations that we can make to that. I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. But let's talk first about like what does it do? What will it do for you? And what won't it do for you as well? So I'm going to share my screen. I actually did it while I was talking this time. So I'm hoping that this works out smooth and seamless.
Excellent.
Thank you. I've been practicing. So what we have here is we have a main trip page in group accounting. Right? This is a normal thing you see. If you're not using group accounting, obviously you're going to have to use group accounting in order to make our QuickBooks connection work. But this is our trip here. Now, when you come onto here, it should, when you send it to trip, and this is coming in the next couple of weeks, when it will automatically create things when you put this into trip or to group accounting, but for the moment you're gonna have to manually send that, and that'll be part of your training on it, is how to manually send a trip over into QuickBooks. So what we have here is a trip in QuickBase or QuickBooks. Your customer is the trip itself. So if you're not using it in those terms, you might have to make a little bit of adjustment, which means that the trip is a customer. It's the customer that you're receiving money from and paying out money for, on their account as well. So that's how we view this. It is a customer. The way we have it set up is, this is the GTO demonstration band, Florida, and this will be set up as a trip. But what we've done is we've created parent and or as a customer. We have parent and child customers in QuickBooks. What we've done is we've created the parent as the school, the organization, the Girl Scout troop, whatever it is that is the defining, like the overarching company that you've sold your group to. That will become the parent, and then the trip itself will become the the child to it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. We have a demo account here, and basically I have Awesome Travel, ABC High School, here's the GTO demonstration account. And you've seen all our demonstration trips that we've sent over to different things over time. So basically I have a parent customer of GTO demonstration. So this could be ABC High School, it could be GTO training, it's whoever it is that is the organization that, that you used as an account from the sales manager. If the account is already there, no worries. It will just create a new one underneath that parent. So I have sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trips under this organization, all of which have attached to this parent, and then each trip is a customer of its own. As we go in, you'll see that it will put in just some basic information about the trip, right? Here's the parent, here's the trip. It doesn't put a lot of information in here. I don't know that you need it. Some people are like, oh, I'd really love all my account information to go over there. That is possible, but I'm going to tell you why it's not important in just a second. So these are our customers. So the second thing it will do is it will bring in receivables. So here's receivables down here. This is the money that you're getting in from the passengers on the trip. If you've set it up in sales, the payment schedule in sales, then it will come up over here just like it's supposed to. And when you receive one, it will create what you need created in QuickBooks, which we'll go over in a second. But again, if you have to add your own receivables, that's fine as well. So when you receive a receivable, money coming in, then what it does is it creates an invoice. So here's some invoices that I had that I just fake made. So I made a payment from ABC High School, from the Demonstration Honor Society San Diego, from the training trip. And what happens is, if you're using QuickBooks, you know that one of the things it likes to do is to create it likes to create an invoice for it to be paid. So you create an invoice for a customer, you send that invoice out to a group leader, they pay it, and then you pay that invoice. But interestingly enough, in group accounting, you actually set up your invoices here instead of in QuickBooks. Can you do it in QuickBooks? Sure, but it means that I can't connect the receivable to that invoice without knowing invoice numbers. So what you really want to do is create your invoice and send your invoice from here, the document. And then all it will do is it will create the invoice and pay that invoice all at the same time. So you created the actual physical invoice that you send to your group leader. And then when they send the check back, or the credit card, or however they're paying, then all you do is pay the receivable like you would normally, and everything else is created over here automatically. Again, you don't want to enter in things in both places. You want to enter them in one, have it appear in the other. So this is what it will do is it will set it up and pay it. If you're asking yourself, why is this one just deposited and not paid? It was because I ran this one before I created the part that pays it. So, but that's what this will do. So the next thing that it will do is it will it will record payments. So in group accounting, you have product payables. So here's what's coming in from the customer. Here's what you have to pay out to the various different attractions and tour directors and everything else that you have to pay. Every time you pay a product payable, it will create that payable as a line item in QuickBooks. So you all know that you have to have vendors in order to do that. That's true. But one of the things that the system does automatically is if the vendor is not in your system, it will create the vendor first and then pay on that vendor. So I have actually placed no vendor into my QuickBooks account. But these vendors have been placed while doing the demo stuff. Right? So just from various different demo things, We've been creating those vendors as we go along. This is just the A's. I've done a lot of testing, right? And so when it's done, it'll create the vendor and then create the expense. You might be asking yourself, what if I already have the vendor in there? It's a great question. The answer is kind of too bad. So if you have vendors in there already that don't match our names, then it will create new vendors. You can merge those vendors into one. You can leave your old vendors into archive position and let them go and just let us create new ones, because you don't have to think about it. You don't have to do anything. It's going to automatically create the vendor. But because naming conventions of vendors is very weird. For instance, if yours is like if you see American Airlines, if yours just says American Air, we're going to create a new one and not connect it to your American Airlines. So one of the things you'll have to kind of let go of when changing to our system is the fact that these vendors are going to line up. We're either going to create new ones, or you'll have to merge with our new ones with your old ones. That's just how it works. But they'll create new ones, and then it will create the expense that goes on them.
So question for
yes.
you though, if the vendor that they already have in their QuickBooks system is exactly the same as our vendor, will it match up, or will it still create?
It will. It will match up. Yep, it certainly will.
If the names are exactly the same, it will match up and not create a duplicate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
So then it creates the expense. So basically, these are just some random ones. So these are payments. I've just chosen some random categories. I'm going to talk about what categories are. I mean, you may be using them, and I'll talk about what we need to do for that in just a minute. But you'll see that it's done, and it's attached to a payee. It's also attached to a trip, but mine doesn't show that because I don't have the thing that says trip on mine. I've been told, as I have onboarded other people onto QuickBooks, they've said, hey, you don't have the field that says that. And I said, you're right, I certainly don't. I don't know why. I'm not an accountant, so I've learned a lot about QuickBooks in the last several weeks. But you tell us what categories you want to have, and we select those, and we get those categories in there for you. There's a process which we'll talk about what I need from you at the end in order to make this work. But so it will actually say what category it's in. So you don't have to worry about that either. You'll select that on the group accounting side. So to recap just a little bit, it creates your customers, which are trips, parent and child. It creates your invoices and pays them. It creates your vendors and puts the expenses on that vendor and on that trip. With all that said, right, you say to yourself, okay, so that means I really don't have to do much in here at all. Well, you'll still have to do your regular bookkeeping stuff in here, but you want to make sure that everything that goes in here is now being put into group accounting, so you don't have to do it both places. Right now, if you're using some other software that we don't make a connection to, you're going to have to say, oh, all right, well, I got to enter it here and I have to enter it there. That's not the way we like to do things. We want to enter it in once. I did fail to mention that when you bring in money or send out money, you can connect it to a bank account or a credit card or anything like that. That's another selection that you will make in like when you're adding the payable, when you're adding the receivable, you'll now be selecting which category you want that to go in. Which, like, do you want it to go in business licenses or commissions and fees? Or you might have created your own, which is great. We can take those too. If you've got custom ones, awesome. Let's use them. Same thing with accounts. If you've got 6 credit cards and you've got 3 bank accounts, and you pay from there, here, and there, and you do this, and you finagle this, then we can do that as well. So no problems there. So let's talk then real quick about what it is you need to do to what it is you need to do to get set up with us, right? What we need to do is we're going to need, and we will do this on the phone or like on a call somehow. You'll give me your login information for your QuickBooks account so that I can connect the two. It goes into our system. I don't see it anymore, so I don't save it. That's why we do it over the phone. I don't want you to send that kind of thing to me over email.
Yeah, please don't actually send it
right. So we want to do that in person. You'll need to give me a list of your categories and a list of your accounts that you use. If you're a bookkeeper in this scenario, then you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. But each one of those things has an ID. And it is that ID that I have to have in order to make the connection work. So I have to have those IDs, and I'll show you how to do that. That's not a problem. And we will then upload those into the system to give you your selection criteria for each payable and receivable. And all you do is select where you want it to go in QuickBooks. What we're trying to do is mimic how you would put it into QuickBooks. You just don't have to do it twice. One of the questions that gets asked is, what about trips that are already in there? How do we do that? If you already have a trip in your group accounting or in QuickBooks, and it's also in group accounting, I can connect the two so that all the expenses and receivables will continue to work correctly. But I have to have a list again of the IDs in your system. When we send it from our system, we pull the ID back. But if you've already done that and you just want to keep moving forward, all you have to do is send me the IDs and I will fill in the IDs and then they will talk to one another. So you can backpedal in things. What I can't, obviously, and you don't want to, is anything you've entered into group accounting and in QuickBooks, they won't speak to one another. Another question I'm asked is, will it work the other direction, where when something happens in QuickBooks, will it do something in group accounting? That possibility is there, but not built out yet. And so that will come in another phase of this project. And then one day, if you make an adjustment here, there, or somewhere, you can make that happen. But as of right now, it just sends one way, and that is to QuickBooks. Also, right now, it doesn't update. So if you've made a mistake, you just need to delete it out and do it again, and then you'll be fine. Most people don't go back and alter anything because once it's paid, it's paid. So like if you overpaid something, you don't go back in and fix the payable or the receivable. You put in another entry. You put in another entry and to deduct it out, as opposed to altering the one that's already there. I think that messes up accounting at that point in time. But that's our connection then to QuickBooks. Pretty simple, pretty easy. If you have some extra fields that you have that you want to have information sent, as long as that field is sendable, I am happy to include that. Meaning if you have a special field that you put the group leader name in, right? I can do that. I can, if there's something from this record that you want sent over, we can do that as long as there's a place to receive it in QuickBooks. And that's it's short. It lengthens the amount of time it takes to onboard you on it. But I think my last call took about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, because we all know I like to talk, to get set up into the system and get you going on the road. So that's it.
Excellent. And again, for those of you who are interested in getting this connection between GTO and your QuickBooks Live, you can contact us. You can contact Corey if you want. Corey's email is corey@gtonetwork.com, KORY@gtonetwork.com. And he can go ahead and set something up so you guys can meet and he can get this whole process working for you. Again, this is going to make it, as we always say with GTO, we don't want you to have to enter information more than once. So this is going to connect it so you don't have to enter information in both group accounting and your QuickBooks Live. So once you enter it into group accounting, it will go ahead and shoot on over to QuickBooks, into your QuickBooks Live. So, that's our main goal. We're trying to cut down on the amount of repetition that you have to do as you're building your trips and managing your trips and accounting for your trips, which makes things more efficient and gives you a little more time. And who doesn't want more time?
That's right. That's right.
I know right now in GTO world, we would all love some more time. But, but Corey, thank you so much for all of this information. This is really fantastic. And I know we've had several of our members asking for this. So I'm excited to get the ones who haven't been connected with it yet. I'm excited to get them connected so that way they can, again, use this a little more efficiently. And that connection between our group accounting program and QuickBooks Live happens for them, so that way they don't have to duplicate any of their work on the accounting side of things. And just a reminder as well, Coach and Go happens every other Tuesday at 2:00 Eastern time. So every other Tuesday, you can tune in and join Corey and myself. Sometimes we have other people on as well, as we take you through some of the processes of GTO. And there's a lot going on right now in GTO. So over the next several months, we're going to be having new information that we're going to be sharing with you about new functionality, updated functionalities, new apps, possibly even, that are going to be available to your companies. So make sure to join in. If you can't join us live, you can always find all of our Coach and Go episodes in one of two places. You can catch them all on our YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. But you can also find them on Community Forum. So in GTO, on your Community Forum, hit the media button and you will find all of the episodes of Coach and Go. You will also find all of the episodes of Fast Break. So again, that's right there within your GTO system. So you can watch them there. You can watch them on YouTube. It's entirely up to you. Of course, we'd love to have you live because if you are live, then you can ask questions if the questions do come up as well. So Corey, thank you so much for joining us. Anything else you would like to share this afternoon before we head off into the wonderful afternoon?
Nope, just that we got exciting things coming into GTO, and we hope everybody's on board to discover them with us.
We do have, and so make sure to tune in 2 weeks because we've got some fun stuff that we're going to be sharing. So Corey, thanks once again for joining us, and
Absolutely.
For all of you out there, get in touch with us. You've got Corey's email if you want to be connected to the QuickBooks Live in GTO, have that connection happen. Reach out to Corey, reach out to myself. We can all help to get that scheduled for you. Thanks again, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of GTO Coach and Go. We invite you to stay connected with Group Travel Odyssey on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And be sure to check out more of our media, including Destination Dispatch and the Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast. Please visit our website, grouptravelodyssey.com, where you can learn more about GTO and request a demo. Group Travel Odyssey, business without boundaries.